Welcome, my name is Jonathan and this will be a roots practice, and specifically it will be the roots basic sequence. And throughout my years of study and travel training with John and Desi, I've come across several versions of the roots series, and this is one that I actually was able to condense into just one sheet of paper, so it's easy to have next to my mat. Some of the original ones were like 7, 8, 9 pages. In fact, I was having a look at the very first one this evening. The first one I went to was in March of 2013, so 8 years ago. I can't believe that. I've been growing my beard for that long. And that particular sequence is quite fiery and fierce. And I recall the workshops were 2.5 hours long. So hopefully I'll be able to offer that one day, but I actually will need someone to actually do the poses while I teach the poses. So that's not happening tonight. Instead, it's going to be just the roots basics. So please start in a kneeling position, specifically hero's pose, where you're on your shins and your toes are pointing back behind you. And this specific position is just a lot easier for seated. To get your low back to move into its natural position so that the low back curvature is in. Then look forward, float your arms in front of you and touch the tips of your fingers together for globe hands. Being soft and sensitive with your fingers, actively push your fingers into each other and bend your elbows out to the sides as if they were pressing out into a resistance. Lift your chin, and 3 cycles of breath here to begin. So deep breath in. And deep breath out. Again, full breath in. And full breath out. And last one. And then open your eyes. Lean forward, reach your arms both forward and up. Sway a little bit from side to side. So keep your arms straight. Actively push them out and allow your rib cage to sway and move. Okay, then lean forward. Touch the tips of your fingers down. Dome hands position, and dome goes to bright. Using your legs, gently remove any prop you may have used to sit on. And pause here in all fours position, so hands and knees. Point your toes back, but pull the toes forward so the front of your ankles lift. Actively push down with your hands so that your upper back gets broader and fuller. And then push your hands away from each other. Feel your arms get stronger. Then tuck your toes under and lift your hips up and a little bit back for crouching cat position. Here in crouching cat position, option to bend and extend your legs to have a little bit of movement. So when you bend, the chest and the head goes back, and when you extend, the head and chest go forward. So just finding a little bit of a pulse and a little movement. Okay, then move your left foot a little closer to your right foot and lift your right leg out to the side. Add a little bit of a bicycle pedal action here, like you're pushing on a resistance at a higher gear as well, so there's some power behind each pedal. Then lower your right foot down and lift your left leg out to the side. Again, pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling, embracing that you might also move forward and back a little bit with your rib cage. Okay, and then left foot down. Go to the first side again, except this time just make circles with your knees. So it's a different action. So the thigh bone moves around in a circular direction within the hip socket. And then lower down and switch sides. Left leg goes out and circles. Doesn't matter which way. You could circle one or both ways. Okay, and then lower your foot. Rise momentarily onto your right fingertips, dome hand position, or even lift your right hand, cup the back of your head. Then touch your hand down and switch sides. Rise to your left fingertips or lift the hand, cup the back of your head. Crouching cat's getting fierce very fast. Now bend your knees and 5 times cat burglar hop. So hop forward and back. And then once you're finished, hop forward and rise up, recovery position, hands to your knees. Whew. Push your knees forward and move your hips back. Then float your arms forward in front of you. From here, earth position, just sway a little bit side to side. Allow your rib cage to move. So as the arms say go to the left, the rib cage actually pushes out to the right and vice versa. And then keeping your arms forward in front of you, bend your elbows so that you can hold the sides of your head. On an exhale, arc over towards the right. You can pause and hold here or create a little bit of a pulse with your legs or a tick-tock in and out of the pose. I love practicing bowspring to music. I don't play music on these videos, of course, because of copyright laws. Come all the way back up and then arc over to the other side. The nice thing about music is it gives you a bit more freedom to move around, to not get so caught up in a static, still position, and instead embrace a practice that is about moving, then holding still. Come all the way up and then touch the hands together. Globe hands position. Lean to your left foot and then step your right foot back behind you. Turn your left foot in as well. Have your feet parallel to each other. Cup the back of your head. Bend your knees forward. Push your head back into your hands and then start to lean back. Lift the rib cage up. Drop the hips down and back. Lean, lean, lean. And then maintain this pushing of your head into your hands. And on an exhale, slowly, 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 slowly hinge forward and then touch your fingers to the floor. Touching the fingers to the floor, bend the knees, lengthen the spine, lift for a halfway lift position, and then push your legs straighter from there. And they may not go all the way to straight, and that's okay. Straighter is just a relative term. So dome hands isn't necessarily to weight bear and go onto the finger pads. Try to still be on the fingertips and use that actually to keep more weight in your legs and your rib cage lifted. Now turn your right foot out and your left leg in and slowly rise up. Go right forearm to your thigh. You can have your left hand to your knee to begin with. Push the knee forward. Use that to move the top of your thigh back. And you can even add a little manual assist, just a little boop, pull the butt up, and then twist to the side. One thing I like to do is make a fist, in this case with the left hand, to push to the top of the head, and then the head can push into the fist, moving the hips back as you inhale, and then exhale and push forward. And sometimes you might switch up the breath and do the opposite. It's just nice to have that freedom to not be so caught up in rigidity, which is really a huge aspect of bowspring. Find more creative freedom within yourself. Holding strong. On your next exhale, touch both hands to the floor, pause, put weight into your hands, getting yourself ready. I like to use a block for triangle pose and put it to the outside of the front foot. In this case, it's the right foot. You can then go left hand to knee again, push the knee forward, move the hips back, use your left hand, grab your butt, boop, pull it up, twist to the left, and then maintain the bent back leg, the arch in the low back, push your front leg straighter. And my leg doesn't even go anywhere near straight. That is intense stretch. That smile is not a fake cheese, that's the real deal. Woo. Hold strong. Breathe fully. This is why I need someone for that 2.5 hour version of the root sequence. There's also stuff that's just way out of my league. OOML. Okay, and then touch both hands down. Just pivot and have your feet parallel to each other again. Pause here, lengthen your spine. And then now pivot, turn your right foot in, your left foot out. You could bring the block with you. I've got two handy with me because I'm always moving around with the blocks. Rise up, go forearm to your thigh, turn your right knee in, push the right knee forward, move your hips back, and then option to grab hold of your butt, pull the butt up, whoop, twist fully, and then from there you could make a fist, put it to the top of your head. Some like to hold the back of the head or reach the arm forward, just lots of options. Push the head forward, move the rib cage forward, but move your hips back at the same time. So trying to split yourself in two, not literally, because we still want you here, but energetically. So you make yourself longer, taller, stronger. Who doesn't want those? One last breath in, and then as you exhale, bring both hands down. Whoo! All right. Feeling the fire. Keep your left hand down to the outside of your foot. Right hand can go to your knee. Push your knee forward, move your hips back. Feel the arch of your low back, just as we did in Hero's Pose at the very beginning, what allows you to get that natural curvature of the spine. Begin to twist to the right, and then push your right leg straighter from there. And when I say right leg, I mean the left leg, the front leg. The leg you right with, if you right with your front leg, which is the left leg. Wish it was easier to edit out the mistakes, but it takes a long time. Okay, this time instead of touching the hands down, push with your feet, rise all the way up, go globe hands position, and then push off of your back foot to step forward. Returning to cup the back of the head, arc over to the right, let's turn to face. And then this time as you arc to the right, option to lift your left heel and even lift your left leg out to the side. So turning it into a one-legged balance position, which there are a lot of in the root sequence. The root sequence is a blend of Bikram yoga and Anusara yoga. Lower your foot down and then arc over to the left. Lift your right leg out. And it's very similar to a style in Canada. It used to be called Moksha hot yoga, and then it turned to Modo. Okay, and then come all the way up. Reach your arms out in front of you. Clasp your hands this time, Hercules clasp. So you interlock the fingers, pull the hands away from each other, weight your right foot, and step your left foot out. And this one's going to be horse stance position. So that's where you turn your feet out a little bit, bend your knees, and you're welcome to put your hands to your knees. So with the hands to the knees, sitting down a little bit lower. Option just to assist by pulling the butt flesh up. Then momentarily go to a Hercules clasp, but with the other hand, just so that you balance out, the other palm facing forward. And notice as you pull your hands away from each other, your arms can get stronger. You could even look forward momentarily. Okay, and then lift your heels to hover. You're also welcome to go into a chin-up bar position. Imagine that you're actually hooking onto a bar that allows you to lift the rib cage up at the same time as you drop the hips down and back. Settle in a little bit lower. Embrace the fire. Get the legs active. And then on your next exhale, hinge forward. Bring your hands down, hands flat. So most will stay here. Option to lean forward, lift the heels a bit higher, or you're welcome to hop a couple times on the spot. If you need the wall, I'm perfectly set up to have the wall behind me. I'll try not to use the wall. You hop up and then just hold. Didn't touch it. Okay, eventually come back down with your feet. Rise to fingertips. Then rise to your knees. Then Hercules clasp. Turn your right foot forward. Push off of your back foot to step forward. Nicely done. And then stepping forward, reach your arms forward, bend your knees, sitting down for chair pose. Here in chair pose, the opportunity is to go to ecstasy arms position. So it's literally like you're just slicking your hair with hair gel. Elbows forward, and then whoo, yeah, ecstasy arm position. Settle in a little bit lower. And you don't necessarily have to be completely upright with your spine. You could tilt forward a little bit, emphasize the arch of the low back, your head pushing back into your hands, holding strong, digging deep. And then reach your arms forward. From here, step back with your right foot and then with your left foot. Try to land with the balls of your feet and your toes first, and you may even get to a point where you're not touching your heels at all. And interestingly, this is how I actually walk normally, especially if I'm barefoot. I don't walk with the heels down. And it's funny to have met so many people in Bowspring who are like, whoa, this is so interesting. And for me, it's like, no, that actually is how I've always walked. People at the studio make fun of me because of that. Option now also to hop back with 2 feet or also hop forward. Whew. That gets you warm pretty fast. And then bend your knees, reach your arms up into the air. Chair position, but with the arms up. Then lean over to your right foot and lift your left foot. Cross your ankle over your knee for a cross ankle squat. I often call it figure 4. And back in the old yoga days, I would try to karate chop the right shin and lift the toes. And then more Bowspring, I really emphasize curling the toes like I'm gripping onto something. I'm quite strong with the bottoms of my feet. I wish there was more functional things I could do at my office working where I could like show people how strong the bottoms of my feet are, but that's not necessarily culturally appropriate right now. Option to grab hold of the butt, lift the butt up, tilt forward, and then go to globe hands in front of you. We return to this pose again a little bit later, but just switch the cross, lower your left foot, and then cross your right. Bend your knee, sit down a little lower. Again, you could do a manual assist by lifting your glutes up, or just focusing that the low back is still moving in and up, which might mean that you have to lift the knee up a bit higher. That's a-okay. Make the spine primary and then the thigh bone rotating. I was about to say rotating. I don't know. Thigh bones date rows. And then uncross your leg. And this one we'll use it to step back and return to horse position again. This time, bend your knees, sit down low, join your hands together, tilt forward, reach your arms forward, and then exhale and come back up. Again, inhale, bend your knees, move your hips way back, option to have your heels hover, and exhale, come back up, and 2 more times like that. And the last one. Same as before, hinge down, hands down. This time though, if you have the wall on the other side, you could just step up the wall if that's a little bit more accessible for you. So it's easier to pause and hold and find the general form of the Bowspring handstand upside down, but not have the fear of falling over or the requirement to maintain the balance. It will help you build strength and courage eventually. Just takes time. Okay, and then come down if you're frog hopping. Rise up, go globe hands position. Turn your left foot forward. push off your back foot and step forward. Reach the arms forward in front of you, then bend your knees, sit down into chair. From here, chair twist, left hand to your knee, right hand to your low back. You can even hook your other knee with your left elbow. So twisting to the right. I often like to just stay here. I love this type of twist. I'll even position myself so that I have a wall in front of me like this, and then push into the wall with the head, move the hips back and twist. Oh, this feels so good. And then push the legs straighter. When I take classes with my friends, they think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I'm not. And then the other option is for matrix drop back, is a pretty tricky one to do. So it's where you actually come out of the pose, reach the arms forward wide, start to arc over, get down low, and then bring your hand down, and then lift up. So it's like when Trinity and Neo are dodging the bullets, and the bullets are coming, and they are getting underneath the bullets. It's a tricky transition back up. You have to kind of push your way up. And then second set. So bend your knees, twist to the left this time, right hand to your left knee, right elbow to the right knee, twisting. Again, you could put the top of your head to the wall. I'm aware that this now just is like, look at my butt. But push your head into the wall if you have one. Low back in and up, twist, and then push your legs straighter. Again, you're always welcome to skip the matrix drop back if you'd like to do it. I'm actually limited with the wall. Getting low, hand down, lifting up. It's kind of like Wild Thing position, but from a standing, and then push off to slowly rise up. Nicely done. Bounce on your right foot, lift your left foot, cross ankle squat, return of the cross ankle squat. Bend your knees, lift the left knee a bit higher, pull the butt up, bend the standing leg more, open your left knee out to the side. Option to stay here or add a twist. The twist could be holding your ankle with your left hand, right hand to your hip, or hold the bottom of your foot. If you're really, really flexible, you could go globe hands and then elbow to the bottom of the foot. Not quite there. Need to have less ice cream in my days. Okay, on an inhale, untwist, uncross your leg, and switch sides. So you balance on your left foot, cross your right over your left, and then from there, again, lift the right knee a bit higher, emphasize getting an arch to your low back, then open your knee out to the side, globe hands. And then from there, right hand to your ankle or the bottom of your foot, up to you, and twist towards the left. Oh, I looked at the wall momentarily. Okay, and then come up, uncross your leg, lower your right foot, and lift your left foot. So Phoenix, classic Phoenix is wrapping the foot around like eagle, and then wrapping the left arm under the right arm like eagle. It's essentially eagle, but it's called Phoenix. I like to do the version where you make a kickstand, and then why I like that is then you can push the outer knees into each other. Ended up with tape on the bottom of my foot. Push the outer knees into each other, get your legs stronger. And then instead of cupping the back of your head, bring two fists to the top of your head, crown hands, and then push your head up into your hands, just kind of like what you're doing with the wall, if you use the wall in that twist. So push the outer knees into each other, drop your hips lower, but push the head up, an option to lean it into a little bit of a back bend. I love this pose, feels great. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Lift, lift, lift. And then uncross your left leg and cross over with your right leg. Switching. We're essentially just going to be switching back and forth for a few goes here. Then again, hands to the top of your head. Push your head up into your hands. Lean back, lift the forearms higher, allow your shoulders to shrug up a little bit, the rib cage to lift, drop your hips lower, push your outer knees into each other, push the right foot forward if it's making a kickstand like me, move the hips further back, lean back, and then uncross your right leg, unwrap or just stretch your arms out, balance on your right leg again, and swing your left leg back behind you. Propeller position, bring both hands to both knees, tilt forward. So right to right, left to left. Push your knees forward, especially the lifted leg. Use that push forward, maybe you can watch me on it as well, as you push forward to move your hips further back to get the arch in your low back. And then once you feel you have that, go globe hands position, and you're welcome to add a little bit of a pulse up and down with the right leg. Nothing super fancy with the transition. Just bring the left foot forward, land toes, balls of your foot, then heel, lift your right heel, right balls of your foot, and lift your right leg back. Tilt forward, bring both hands to your knees, push the knees forward, move your hips back. Woo, woo. And then hands in front of you, globe hands. Option to create a little bit of a pulse up and down. And then lower right foot, toes, balls of your foot, heel down. Then switch, lift your left foot, place your foot to your upper inner thigh. Have your hips square, which might mean having the left knee point a little bit forward. Use your left foot to rotate your right inner thigh back to encourage a slight low back curve. And then keeping the hip square, start to open your knee out to the side, maintaining that bend to your right knee. This time reach your arms forward in front of you, curl your fingers into a fist, and place the thumbs to the outside of the index finger for seed hands. And then reach the arms up and wide for V vector arms. V for victory or Victoria, which is where I live. It's also the YMCA. Okay, then lower your left foot and lift your right. I need the assistance of just holding the ankle to put the foot to the upper inner thigh. Bend the standing leg. Use the right foot to manipulate the left inner thigh to go back. Move the hips back, open the knee out to the side. Globe hands low can be quite nice, or even two seeds low, just to take any strain off of the traps. Focus on the strength of the inner rim of your arms, the front of your body. Look forward. Okay, and then lower your foot down. I'm going to turn a little bit on this one. So it's a lean to the right foot, and then lift the left leg out to the side. Hold both knees. Push your knees forward. Move your hips back. Open the left leg out, and then option to hold under your thigh. I just can't hold the toes and keep the low back curvature in. I can hold the toes, but then round, it just doesn't feel so good in my spine. And it's less of a stretch for the hamstrings. I'm just stalling here. Holding the thigh, extend your leg out to the side. You can counterbalance with the right arm out as well. Holy, this is why for the 2.5 hour one, I just want to sit over in the corner and watch someone else. I'm good at barking out orders. Okay, and then lower the foot, nicely done, hands to the knees. And then lean to your left foot, lift your right leg out. With your right leg out, push your knee forward, move your hips back, and then option to hold under your thigh. And then extend your leg straighter to the side. Left arm can go forward, lifting up, breathing deep, kicking the leg. Okay, and then lower your foot and back to the first side again. So lift your left leg, hold on to your left knee with your right hand, left hand to your hip, or you could cup the back of your head or hand to the top of your head. Challenge yourself to keep the standing leg bent a little bit. If you can hold your foot and extend your leg straight. I'm just going to hold under the outside of the thigh and then extend the leg straight from there. That is a challenging and dynamic pose for me. Okay, then rebend your knee, lower your foot down softly, and switch sides. Lean over to your left, turn towards the right, option to hold under your thigh, option to hold your foot up to you. Extend your right leg straighter. You could always counterbalance with your right arm behind you, or you could go again to crown hands or ecstasy arms position. Lift up tall, breathe deep. And then turn to the floor and lower your foot down. Balance on your right foot, lift your left leg behind you, and then grab hold over top your toes. So instead of the little toe side or the big toe side, just hold over top the toes. Reach your right arm forward, bend your right knee, and then kick your foot back. Lift your chin. Stage 1 here, or stage 2 5 times. Go for rebounds, where you bow down, tap, and then come back up. Just adding a little bit extra flair and drama to the pose. 3, 4, and then 5. And then now hold your ankle from either the inside or outside, up to you. So holding lower than just the foot. And then kick your foot back, tilt forward, reach the right arm forward, and lift your left foot up as high as you can. Last couple cycles of breath before you finish. And immediately just lower the left foot and lift your right foot. Hold over the toes, so it's kind of the balance point, which is a lot of times what bowspring is, kind of the in-between between back bends and forward folds. And then pull the foot down into the hands. You move your knee forward and move your hips back, and then kick your foot back. Stay there, or the 5 times where you tap down, kick to rise up. Again, tap, kick to rise, tap, kick to rise. Couple more. Okay, and then once you come back up to dancers, again, you can hold either the inside or outside ankle. And then from there, kick your foot back, lift your foot up high, reach the left arm forward. Can't quite get my right foot higher than my head. Close, push, 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 push. Within reason. And then slowly lower the foot down. Balance on the right foot. Immediately lift the left foot. And then go fingertips, globe hands, propeller pose. Return of propeller pose. And then having a little bit of fun here. So bring your hands down. So we're starting with the right foot down. So just hitch kick, switch from foot to foot. And the next time you land on your right foot, land on the very edge of your mat, the right edge. turn your foot out, move your hands over to the right, and then step your left foot back. So you can rise up, and it's called diagonal starter block position. It's a lunge position where you're ready to race from the starter block. So short position, it's diagonal because you're on a diagonal. If we were in a yoga room and the mirrors were forward in front of you, it's nice because then you can see your side profile a little bit more and create the arch in your low back. So push your knees forward, move your hips back, go globe hands position. Option to add a little bit of a twist here towards the right. You could even push the right leg a little bit straighter, maybe even go a left hand to your knee, right hand to the top of your head. Okay, and then turn to center. Push off of the back foot momentarily, point your left toes, bring the top of your foot down, and then your knee down. All together, wide sweeping arc over to the left, so your left hand comes to the very top left corner of the mat, and then the right hand can drape over you for baby mantis position. You could also put it to the top of your head and use that as resistance to push your head into, lift the side of your rib cage up higher. Okay, then this will actually push our way into side chair. So use your left hand pushing to step the left foot back and then step your right foot back. So side chair is when you can get the bottoms of both feet to the floor and create a pulse that way. You're welcome to lift the right leg, put your hand to the front of your knee, push the knee forward, option even to hold underneath your thigh, extend your leg straighter. That's so hard for me. And then moving to wilder thing, bringing the foot behind you, pulsing a few times, building strength and stability in your left arm in this challenging position. So just go easy. And then return, right hand down, swing your right shin forward for Falcon Pose. So shin just at a 45-degree angle, and then back knee touches your front ankle. Move your hips back. Excuse me. And then option to use blocks. I like using blocks to come to bring the elbows down. And it's just a little bit easier to keep the rib cage lifted and find a little arch in the low back. How are we doing? Pretty good. Pretty fiery so far. You're gonna have to drink about like 5 liters of water after this. Okay, you're welcome to stay, or you can come up a little bit higher for more of a balancing position. So first rising up maybe to dome hands or fingers on a block, and then Hercules clasp. From there, you cup the back of your head and start to lean back. If you can hold your foot over your head, you're welcome to do that. I'm a little ways away. Just a little ways. Okay, and then touch your hands down, crouching cat position. Sometimes I use blocks for crouching cat. It actually makes it a little bit easier to get the shape of crouching cat with blocks. I also like curling the fingers around the blocks. So bending and extending the legs, maybe even momentarily drop your heels to the right, turn your feet to the left, tilt your right ear to your shoulder, actively stretch and lengthen the left arm out, and then come back up and drop your heels over to the left, tilt your left ear to your shoulder, pulse your legs, and then back to center. For cat burglars, hands on a block makes it so much easier. 5 times, hop forward and back. So forward, back, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then from there, slowly rise up, globe hands, balance on the left foot, and swing your right leg back behind you, propeller position. Pulse the leg. We've already done propeller once, so just prepping it for the stage in preparation for hitch kicks. So touch your hands down, and then just switch from foot to foot. Next time you land on the left, try to land it on the left side of your mat. Turn your toes out to the left and then step your right foot to the right edge of the mat with both sets of toes facing more the front left-ish area of your space, and rise up. Place your hands to your knees. This one shows the starter block position a bit more. Maybe you'd have your legs like that and you're ready to push off. Anyone here is a track runner? I thought I was really good at track, and then I ran against other people and I realized I'm not. Push your knees forward, move your hips back. Place your hands to the outside of your knees. Push the knees out, and then rise up. Globe hands. Option to take a little twist towards the left. You can begin to straighten your left leg a little bit. We'll return to a variation of this pose in a bit. Option to cup the back of your head. Could even face the wall on this one. Okay, and then back to center. Lift your right foot, point your toes, bring the top of your foot down. Then your knee, wide sweeping arc over to the right hand to the front right corner of your mat. And then cup the back of your head left, move your hips back, tilt your right ear to your right shoulder, lift the left side rib cage up, embrace the feeling through your side body. You might enjoy to stretch and reach your arm out as well. Okay, and then push with your left foot, lift your whole right leg, step your foot back, then stack your left foot on top, bend both knees so you get the bottoms of both feet to the floor, into side chair. And you're welcome to lift your left leg, hand to the front of the knee, or hold the back of your thigh and extend your leg up. Woo! And then wilder thing is just bringing your foot behind you, pulsing the legs, sitting low, and then lifting up. Sitting low, and then lifting up. Okay, and then flip over, left hand down, slide the left shin forward. Doesn't have to be all the way to the front of the mat. Right knee to left ankle. Again, I like blocks. We've got a dripper. And then lower down onto your elbows. It's actually like 0 degrees outside. That's Celsius. Sorry to my American friends. I don't know what that is, like 32 in Fahrenheit. I don't understand Fahrenheit. In this position, pull your elbows back and think of moving your rib cage forward. Push your knees out to the side and think of moving your hips back. If it was appropriate for me to practice with my head to the wall the whole time, I probably would. And I'd be head to the wall in this one and pushing the head in as I envision the hips being pulled back. Now you can stay or come up for that little bit of a balance. Go Hercules class to steady yourself. Puff up your upper back, so fill in your radiant heart. Look forward. Option to cup the back of the head and then lean it back. The first times I tried this, I thought, no way, you can't balance in this position. It's funny what you can get used to. Okay, and then hands down, tuck your toes, and rise up, crouching cat position again. Bend and extend the legs. Option momentarily to lift the left hand, bring the hand in front of you for face mirror position. Think of holding onto some cable in front of you that can pull your rib cage forward. And then switch to the other side. Bounce on your left hand, lift your right hand. Again, imagine holding on and pulling yourself. Okay, and then 5 times forward and back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then hop forward. I'm going to put the blocks up a bit higher because I know where we're going. And then hands to your knees, recovery position. So I like to use blocks here. I'll even show the wall, and I'll probably switch the wall for the next couple poses. But lean to your right foot. Take a little step back with your left foot. So it's that short lunge position, just like diagonal starter block. Bend your knees, tilt forward, push the knees forward, and move the tops of your thighs back, and that'll help to get the little arch in your low back. Now maintain the arch, lean forward, hands to blocks or the floor. So I propped a block on a block just to make it even higher up. And then emphasize the low back curve going in. So I can get the legs straight with my back rounded. I get absolutely nothing from this. This doesn't do anything for me. Bend the knee, lift the butt, arch the low back, and then push the leg straighter. Holy Dinah. Now, the coup de grace is to push the top of your head into a wall as you do that. Whoa. I can't really give much more instructions at this point. Okay, and then rise up and switch to the other side. So step forward, step back. I'm just going to stay with the wall. This is my timeout time. Push your head back in, or push your head up to the wall if you have that. If not, just imagine that. Move the hips back, get the arch in your low back, and then begin to push your front leg straighter from there. I'm the only grown adult that will sometimes hope to be given a timeout in the corner, and then I can start doing some bowspring variations. Push, push, push. Move the hips back, press the front leg straighter. Okay, and then push with the hands. Slowly rise up. And first side again, so right foot forward, left foot back, tilt forward, except this time go right hand to your thigh or hip. Keep your left hand down. Again, I've got the wall here for myself. Twisting, get the arch in the low back. And then this is where you could use your hand to the top of your head to mimic the wall. Or you just keep the hand alongside you. Push the front leg straighter. Feel a bit more of a stretch, not just in the hamstring, but now also the outer right thigh. Broaden the sit bones. Turn the back knee in a little bit. Try to widen more. And then come up and switch. So left foot forward and right foot back. I'll just come back to more of a regular position. Tilt forward. Right hand stays down. Knees bend. Again, emphasize an arch to your low back, not a flat back, even beyond that. So there's a light indentation, and then twist to the side. Option to go fist to the top of the head. Push your head into your hand. Push your left leg straighter. Twist further. Okay, and then slowly rise your way back up to stand. Have the feet a little bit separated. Lift the heels, turn your feet out, and then bend your knees down into a deep squat position. And in bowspring squat, it is okay to have the heels lifted. If it's such a struggle or a challenge, you could always put a block under your heels. But the advantage of having the heels up is you can pull your knees up and get a little arch in your low back. If you want a little extra fun here, you can do triumph leaps. That's where you start in this position, reach your arms up, and then plant your hands down, hop up, and then finish. Just do that a few times. Whee, that's fun. Okay, and then hands down, bring one knee down, then the other knee down. Sit back either on your heels, between your heels, or on a block that's between your heels. And I just need the block, and the reason is my knees don't like it if I, even if I just sit on the heels for too long, just a little bit too much strain there. It's because my calves are so strong. So here in Hero's Pose, bring your fingertips to your thighs, push down on your thighs. Use that to lift your rib cage, lift your shoulders, lift your eyes. Breathe in. And as you exhale, twist to the right. Place your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Option to cup the back of your head with your right hand, or make a fist and put it to the top of your head, pushing your head up into your hand. Okay, and then turn to the other side. Right hand to the outside of the left. Twist fully from right to left, lift your chin, maybe your shin. And then option to go hand to the top of your head, twisting from right to left. Okay, and then back to center. Just lift up off of your block and slowly lower down into your elbows. And you could interlace your fingers. I sometimes like praying with the hands or using the block to hold onto, and step your feet back, lift your hips up for the crouching cat version of forearms, which is called crouching Sphinx position. Where to look with the eyes. If you look towards, in this case, me with the block in the hands, that's just a bit too much strain on the neck. So I kind of look at the space between the elbows. Bend the knees, push the knees energetically out. You're welcome to move your left foot a little closer to your right, lift your right leg out to the side, and do that bicycle action that we did earlier. Remember that? It's back. We brought it back for the sequel. And then right foot down, lift your left leg out, and just like the first side. So fun. Okay, then step your feet back into hovering Sphinx, also known as forearm plank. Hold strong, dig deep, breathe fully. If you need a little bit of a break here, you can bring your knees down and then lift your feet, push your knees energetically out to the side. And then now lower all the way down onto your belly. You can move the block a little bit to the side. Go for globe hands position. Tuck the chin in a little bit so it's a little easier to get fullness through your upper back, and then bend your knees, and often called tummy time, just pausing here. Little infants need their tummy time to build strength for the back body. In a fitness modality called foundations training, this globe hands is called the sphere of tension. And they do a very similar exercise here where you push down with the knees, push down with the elbows, and then come up into kind of like a forearm plank, but with your knees down. And it can be fierce, lifting the rib cage up, push the knees out to the side. Holds for 3, 2, and 1. And then lower down. One-legged thigh stretch, so just turn your left forearm in, reach back with your right hand to grab your ankle or your foot. You could kick your foot back and get the stretch that way. Or you can hold the big toe side of the foot and start to bring the heel in. And I actually like to hold with the elbow. It just feels nicer. I don't have to have my hands touch my sweaty feet. It's so gross. You get like feet smell on your hands. It's one of the positives of this whole global pandemic is there's no more handshaking anymore, so you don't have to worry if someone's hands were touching their own feet. You laugh, but you go to yoga studios, you know what it's like. People touch their feet all the time. Okay, and then switch sides. Lean over to the right, grab hold of your left foot. Again, you can just hold the foot or the ankle and kick back. Sometimes I like to do that even just as a warm-up and prep to go further. Need to be in that for a moment and then can work a little bit more. This side may not be as easy for my shoulder. I think it's easier for my thigh though, so it's kind of 1 for 1. Okay, and then release your foot. Bring your forehead to the mat, bend both knees, and grab hold of both ankles. Holding your ankles, kick your feet back, and rise up for bow pose. B-O-W, bow pose from Bowspring. Lift up to your capacity, floor bow. Rise, 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 rise. And then lower down, keep your feet lifted. Place your hands wide, maybe as wide as the mat or a little wider. Even turn the hands in. Bring your chin in, actively push down with the knees to lift your groins up, and then push down with your hands, get your chest engaged, and push with your hands and your knees, and slowly lift up. And then lower down, and do that 5 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then lift up for crouching cat position. Nice. Okay, then seated side twist. Hover the knees and turn your knees over to the right so that you're on your left hip. Rise onto your right fingertips. You might even pull the fingers back. The knees go to the right, but then the chest turns towards the front of your space. So it's a nice twisted position. And then bring your hand down, pivot, turn your knees the other way so you're on your right hip. Rise onto the left fingertips. Lift the chin and twist from left to right. Okay, and then hand down, twist back to the first side. This time though, slide your left arm long, lie onto your side body, and then hover the right leg. Place your right hand to the front of your thigh, near your knee, and gently push the knee forward into your hand and resist back until you can get a little arch in your low back. Then push your left knee down, place your right hand to the outside of your knee, and push your right knee up. Feel your glutes get stronger. Okay, and then right hand to the floor in front of you. Push down to come up. Pivot your knees the other way. Slide your right arm long. Lie onto your side. Hover the left leg. Push your left knee forward. Move your hips back. Push the right knee down. Push the left knee down. Okay, and then this time it'll just be a roll onto your back. So you can roll all the way over. You may not end up on your mat. So to move onto your mat, you can move your head, push your head down, move your ribs, push your ribs down, move your hips, push your hips down, move your feet. And that can be an entire move. Woo! Maybe a new dance sensation. Then cross your arms, lean to your left, push your right arm straighter, and then lean to your right, push your left arm straighter. Get your upper back broader. Open the arms out, V-vector arms, hands in seat, and then lift your feet to the height of your knees. Think of someone holding under your heels, touching your smelly feet, and then pull down energetically so it gets the backs of your legs toned. Option here for extra credit, push back through the back of your head to lift your rib cage up, and then hold. Feeling the strength that you develop in your neck, be quite powerful. For 3, 2, and 1, and lower your feet down. and then push with your feet and lift your hips up. I'm just grabbing a block here for bridge pose, bowspring style, so where that you lift the hips up and then drop the hips down onto a block. I like that version a lot. And instead of having the arms up, I'll hold them up over my head to the front edge of the mat, more of a chin-up arm position. And then just drop the weight of the hips down into a resistance. Lift your belly and chest up. If you don't have a block, it's still pretty well the same. It's just you can actually drop a little bit lower and it can actually be more intense that way. Okay, and then lower your hips all the way down. Have a little pause, break, and breather. Okay, round two, lift your hips up. Again, you could use a block or no block, bridge position, dropping the hips down towards the floor or to the floor. Keep your belly lifted and then push with your left foot, lift your right knee in, and then extend your right leg up into the air. I do not shake intentionally. That is intense for me. And then lower your foot down and switch sides. Right knee in, and then right leg lifts. Okay, and then lower your foot down. Lift your hips. If you are on a block, remove the block. And then one more back bend. You could do bridge, you can do the principles of bridge and wheel where you start to drop your hips while you're in wheel. I just do not have the flexibility to really show that, so wheel alone is intense enough for me. But one last time, give it a go. Up to you what you want to do. If you're going wheel, it's hands beside your ears. I usually come up to the top of the head first, move the hands in a bit closer, and then lift up. And then try to drop the hips down. Drop the hips down. Drop the hips down. And then tuck the chin. Slowly lower yourself down. And then lying on your back, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And you may just keep your left toes on the floor to keep the low back slightly lifted. Or you can lift the left foot. I'll even hold on to the right knee. But of course, you can go through the legs with the right hand. Just when I do that, I get really close to touching my low back to the floor, and I like keeping it in that neutral position. And this is a really good hip opener for my right hip, the less open hip. And we'll go into thigh root position directly from here. So just lower your left foot down, then hold the back of your right leg and extend your leg up into the air, using your hands, pulling your thigh bone straight down towards the hip socket. Okay, then bend your knee and lower your foot down and switch the cross your left ankle over your right knee. You could hover the right heel and then use that to try to pull the hips back. Ooh, that's a good stretch right there. You're welcome to hold on to both shins, or pardon me, both hands to your shin. Or slide your left hand in between the gap of the legs to hold the right leg. Okay, then extend your left leg straight up, hold the back of your thigh, push your leg straighter. You're always welcome to slide the right leg long. It's just a little harder to maintain the low back curve lifted. Okay, and then lower your foot. Shift both hips a little bit to the left. I really like going into chin-up bar position for these twists, and then drop the knees all the way over to the right. And then let the left shoulder lift. Place your right hand to the outside of your left thigh and begin to twist from right to left. Oh. Okay, and then come up and move your hips over to the right. Drop your knees over to the left. And right hand can be in a chin-up bar position and twist from left to right. And then come back to center. Just shift your hips so they're in line with your shoulders. Lift your feet to hover. Cup your knees for freedom pose. You can make little circles in your knees. And then pause with the legs, the thigh bones vertical. And the shins just sort of dangling with the feet flopping. Then one by one, slide your legs long for a final resting position. You're welcome to put one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. Do 2 more like that. And last one. Start to move your head side to side. And wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then stretch the arms out to the side or overhead. And stretch one leg longer than the other. And then reach your right arm over, roll over to your right side, which is one of the most natural positions we can be in, one that maintains our bowspring curves. And then push with your left hand to slowly rise up. Finish with your hands in glow pants. Inhale deeply. And exhale out. Namaste.